While many bloggers are busy chasing likes and views, Patreon, a platform that makes it easy for fans to support your work directly, is helping savvy creators build an engaged community and earn recurring revenue in the process. In an age of incessant algorithm updates and AI threats, moving your audience into a space you can control, like Patreon, is a smart business move. Luckily, our guest for this episode, point strategy coach and host of the GeoBreeze Travel Podcast, Julia Menez, has mastered this. Julia helps her audience optimize their miles and points to travel luxuriously on a budget, which has allowed her to turn her expertise into a predictable revenue stream. In this episode, she'll share how she structures her Patreon tiers for success, tips for getting people into the membership and keeping the community engaged, advice for managing this extra workflow without burning out, and more. Now, we'll be covering a lot, so if you want to just relax without having to take notes, I've got you. I have created a free Grow and Monetize with Patreon cheat sheet based on Julia's tips. You can grab it inside of my free travel blogger resource library, which includes 75 plus checklists, tutorials, and templates, all meant to help you grow your traffic, email list, and income. Feel free to even pause this video to go grab those resources. You back? Then let's dive in. Well, thank you, Julia, so much for taking the time to share your tips. To start, can you just share more about yourself, your business, and how you got into Patreon?
Sure. So we'll start with how I got into points and miles and how that eventually turned into a Patreon thing. So way back in the day, I was an actuary. So deep math modeling as my day job, because nobody majors in Patreon or Instagram or any of that. So I was an actuary, and one day I was done with actuarial exams and had so much energy. And my husband was like, yeah, you need a hobby. So he sent me all of these personal finance blogs, not realizing how deep I was going to dive down that rabbit hole. And eventually came across the world of points and miles from just learning about different personal finance tips and tricks through those blogs. And we took a couple of trips using points and miles, got some great upgrades in Morocco, opened a couple of cards. And by the time the pandemic rolled around, I was pretty deep into points. But then, of course, the pandemic rolled around and we couldn't travel anymore. So then I was like, well, I guess we're stuck inside and I just want to talk about points all day. To which he said, yeah, you're going to need friends to talk about this. I don't want to hear about points and miles all day. So I just started reaching out to other people on the internet and asked them, hey, do you want to jump on a Zoom call or something and talk about points? To which they said, not really. Like, I don't know who you are, and this is kind of weird to just DM somebody asking if you want to jump on a video call. But then I said, what if I record our conversations and release it to the internet? And they said, oh, are you starting a points podcast? I would love to be featured. And I said, yeah, I'm doing that. I am starting a points podcast. And that was the birth of the GeoBreeze Travel Podcast, which was not supposed to be income yielding. It was just for me to talk to people about points and miles and my lovely nerdy niche habit during the pandemic when none of us could travel. But over time, people started listening to the podcast, reaching out and saying, hey, I don't have time to tune in every week. Can you just do this for me? So in the beginning, I probably charged like $100 per person for one-on-one calls. And I was like, this is awesome, $100. And eventually it got to the point where I just couldn't handle the capacity, especially for $100 per call. So I said, what if instead of one-on-one calls for $100, we all just jump on a call and it's only going to be $5 or $10? And so that's how Patreon was kind of birthed. I did it for group coaching where everybody pays a little bit of money and then I just answer all the questions once a month. And that actually ended up making a lot more money than one-on-one in the beginning, especially because the prices were so low.
Oh, I love that. And you've already started touching on kind of like what Patreon can look like, but this is definitely going to be new for some people. So I'd love to start with the basics. What is Patreon and why is it such a great option for creators looking to grow and monetize?
So Patreon is a platform where it's a monthly recurring subscription. And if you can launch something that's got reoccurring revenue, it's great for creators. We use this more as a downsell option these days. So we still do one-on-one, but it's a much higher touch concierge service now. So not everybody qualifies for that either because they don't have a lot of points already, or they don't have a lot of expenses that they can run through their different credit cards. And so for a lot of clients who write in and they say, oh, I don't need that much help, I just need a couple of questions answered, but I can't figure it out on my own, Patreon group coaching is great for that. I'm sure people use Patreon for all sorts of different formats, whether for essays, videos, all sorts of different things on the Geo Breeze Travel Patreon. We just do one group coaching session per month, starting at $5. And then people also write in throughout the month with their specific award search tutorials. For example, hey, I'm trying to get from Seattle over to Doha next November. I have these many points. What's the best way to do it? We'll prepare personalized videos for people and then batch release them all at the end of the month as well.
I feel like I need that. I'm curious for someone thinking about starting a Patreon. I know there's probably some like pros and cons and things to think about. What are some important considerations that people should keep in mind to decide if joining or starting a Patreon is right for their business? Like, for one thing, I'm curious if maybe there should be a certain audience size first or anything like that.
I would say it's not really based on audience size. It would be more so based off of the style of how you want to monetize. So, for example, if you want to monetize mostly through one-on-one client work where you're hopping on different Zoom meetings or Google meetings or everything, Patreon probably isn't the best platform for that. We use other technology stacks for that. If you wanted to launch a course, you could probably do it through Patreon. It's not specifically made for that. It's more so for like, hey, I produce some kind of creator work. Does somebody want to pay me for my art or my music or something else? So we use it for more of an educational platform. I see a lot of other people on Patreon who do it more so as, this is my creative outlet. Does somebody want to pay me for it? Which is the origin and the etymology of patron.
Do you think there should be like some maybe audience growth happening before launching the Patreon? Or what if someone's kind of just starting today and they have the idea of like, okay, this is what I want to create, but maybe they don't have the audience yet? Should they wait to start it?
I would say it's always easier to build something that people specifically say that they want to purchase rather than to just build something and then try to sell it. So before you start a Patreon, you don't necessarily need a large audience, but you do need to know your audience well and what they say they are willing to pay for. I was talking to some artist way back in the day, and I was like, you can't just paint your feelings and expect people to give you money for that. You have to paint rich people's feelings and do like commissionable art, especially if you have a very small audience first, then you're catering to delivering whatever it is that they say that they want to do. So if you want to use Patreon as a way to say, like, let's say you're a musician, hey, I'll do like customized songs for you for like this amount and you can purchase it through Patreon. That's a way to do that as well. But as far as a lot of people who are like, oh, I'll just kind of float my way through and paint something or write something, and then why are people not paying me for it? Especially if you have a smaller audience, it's a lot harder to monetize that way. So it's not necessarily about audience size. It's about, did you do your market research of what people are actually willing to pay you for?
Yeah, and that's a great segue into kind of creating these tiers and deciding what to offer in them. You know, I've seen everything from like workshops and coaching to, hey, just support me, to, like you were saying, customized work. There's so many different things people are offering on there. So how did you go about kind of choosing and structuring your tiers? You've talked about it a bit, but I'm like curious what advice you'd have also for other people trying to decide. I know I have a lot of people in my community who have been talking about Patreon, but they're like, do I just ask people to support me? Like, do I kind of offer that coaching aspect, or should I be actually like editing people's photos or doing something like that?
As far as just support me, I would say, why are people going to be incentivized to do that? I remind myself often that there are thousands of people on the internet who look just like me, do points and miles. Like, it seems almost, and I don't want to say entitled, but a lot of people are like, I put so much work into my niche hobby. Why is it not just attracting money? Because you're doing it for you and not necessarily other people. And if you want other people to pay you for that, yeah, that would be the dream. If we can all just live about our feelings and expect people to just support that. Not always how that works. And that is a difficult monetization conversation for some people, where if you want people to pay you, deliver some value, some outsized value, where they're like, especially if it's the equivalent of a donation box of somebody performing on a street corner. where you're like, wow, this was so amazing. Here's $5 or something. You have to make it such outsized value for that. Or it has to be a little bit more of a, if you pay this much, this is what you get type of transaction, which I know a lot of people don't love, but that is the nature of business. As far as what to do on different tiers, there's a range on this. The easier it is for you to fulfill, the less it should cost. Where if it's just downloadable PDFs, I know you might think, oh, it's got life-changing information on it. It's a PDF, it's easy to plagiarize. Somebody else has probably come up with the same information before unless you have it trademarked or something. But the harder it is to fulfill, where you're doing customized commissionable work for people, the more you can charge for that. So that's just something to keep in mind of, are you in it for, you want it to be a lifestyle, you want it to be convenient, you want it to be as passive as possible, or you want something that pays a lot, in which case you have to be willing to put forth the work to do that. And it's going to be a lot more customizable type of work.
I'm curious too if there are ways to monetize beyond the tiers. You know, a lot of creators do affiliate marketing, they have their own products, they do sponsorships. I also think Patreon might have some type of shop feature, if I'm not mistaken.
I've not used the shop feature, but there are lots of different ways to monetize. So Patreon is just one way that we do this at Geo Breeze Travel. We have a few different streams of income. I don't recommend, if somebody's just starting to monetize, go for 7 streams of income. I definitely don't recommend that because you'll be stretched really thin. So start one, get that pretty well rolling and pretty well automated, and then build off of that. So Patreon was probably like our second or third stream. We had affiliate links going on at the same time with credit card links. We had one-on-one services. We shut down the one-on-one services. We launched course work at some point. And so we just kind of experiment with all of it. So it doesn't have to be your end-all be-all, but it could make sense in a suite of products that you offer. But especially in the beginning, I would say maybe start with offering the most hard to fulfill, customizable, expensive stuff because, one, you need to sell fewer people on it in order to make a decent amount of money. And in the beginning, you probably have fewer clients or a smaller audience anyway, so you have time and not money. So go for something that takes you more time and would cost more money.
Are there ways that you've seen works well to sort of cross promote those types of things with Patreon? Or like I'm thinking, if you do some type of customized thing on Patreon for that audience, is it okay to use affiliate links, of course, with disclosure? Or is the culture of Patreon sort of like, no, this is just the Patreon stuff and keep everything separate?
We cross-pollinate all the time. So we have a lot of different free lead magnets. Earlier on, we used to have credit card affiliate links. Now we use referral links from our students in the course. But yeah, we would say like, hey, in Patreon, we mostly cover how to use points you already have. If you need help with earning points, we do free credit card consultations. Click on this link. We'll give you a recommendation. They include affiliate links. I don't know why somebody would be against that in the culture of Patreon. If you're attracting an audience where they are resentful at you because you have managed to monetize and they're resentful that you make money, I would probably look into your marketing a little bit more because that's not the audience you want to attract. It's going to be a very uphill battle to monetize your creativity if the messaging is attracting a lot of people who are resentful at other people who make money.
All right, taking a quick break from the interview to let you know that this episode is brought to you by my very own NYC Photo Journeys. With the warmer weather, longer daylight, and beautiful flowers in bloom, now is the perfect time for content creation in New York. If you want high-quality professional photos taken in the city's most iconic locations like Times Square, Central Park, Brooklyn Bridge, and Dumbo, I'd love to work with you through an NYC influencer shoot. I offer an edited package that comes with 100 professionally edited photos, as well as an unedited package if you'd prefer to edit your own pictures. Both of these packages come with a pre-planning call to help bring your vision to life. As a special thank you for being a listener, I'm currently offering a limited time bonus. You can use the code BONUSPHOTOS, all caps, one word, when booking an edited package to get 10 extra edited images added to your gallery for free. You can find the link to book in the video description or via the QR code on your screen. Just remember to use code BONUSPHOTOS during checkout to get the 10 free bonus photos. All right, now back to the episode. That's a great point. And I'd love to talk more about this audience and specifically audience growth. What have you seen to be the most effective ways to grow a community on Patreon?
I would say the most effective way to grow a community on Patreon is to grow your audience outside of Patreon. So we do a lot of social media in the beginning, especially Cross-pollination helps a lot, where maybe you just have a couple thousand followers. Find somebody who has a tangentially related audience that has a similar sized following. So let's say that I talk about points and miles, and then there's an accountant over here with a similar sized audience, and they talk about taxes. Maybe I'll post one of their tips on my page with permission, and they post one of mine, and then our audiences discover each other. Really easy to do that now with the collaboration feature on Instagram. So cross-pollination definitely helps, especially in the beginning. I don't really try to grow my Patreon as much as I try to grow my Instagram, and then I try to use that to funnel into an email list. Growing your email list is key for pretty much anything, because from there you can funnel them into Patreon, courses, one-on-one consulting, whatever platform you need. But in order to grow your Patreon, I would say focus on just organic marketing and use that to funnel into an email list.
That's so smart. And you have an amazing Instagram, by the way. I've followed you for a long time. I love your work. How are you, like a little more specifically, kind of creating that funnel from Instagram to the email list to Patreon? Like, how does that look?
So we have a lot of lead magnets. If anybody wants to check out the Instagram at GeoBreeze Travel, each of the posts has a call to action where it says comment this word. From there, we use ManyChat to automatically send people the link that they're looking for. So let's say you see a little reel which has, hey, did you know you can book this deal through Air France or Air Canada? Comment this word, and then we'll send you the full length YouTube tutorial. So people will comment the keyword. We automatically just DM them the video. They get a little bit more nurtured and warm through the YouTube channel as well. And then some of them, it'll just, instead of sending a YouTube, it'll say, hey, enter in your email, we'll send you this template or this free course or something. Once they enter in the email, they are automatically zapped into our email list. We host it on ConvertKit, but you can really host it wherever. We have a ton of Zapier automations that are going on to automate all this in the background. And as far as moving people to Patreon from there, once they're in the ecosystem of our email list or sometimes our client relationship manager, our CRM, then really we just keep asking people, like, what is it you're looking for? Do you need help with redeeming points? Do you need help with earning points? Okay, we have these free resources. Or if you need it fast tracked, we have these paid resources, including Patreon, so that people can kind of pick and choose what they're looking for. If you just keep blast messaging people on Instagram, like join my Patreon, that's annoying. Don't do that. Don't do that on your emails either. Maybe like once every few months you can do that just to remonetize it. But I've heard that the ratio of 4-to-1 is pretty good, where you just send out 4 pieces of content where you're not asking people for money. It's just, hey, want to demonstrate that I have value. Here's the value. And maybe like 1/5 of the posts would be like, hey, and if you want even more value, if you want more where this came from, if you want it faster, better, more personalized, we have paid options for that. Check out the link in my bio, Patreon's there. But yeah, I would caution people, especially in the beginning, of just saying, join my Patreon, join my Patreon, join my Patreon. It's not going to work out very well.
Ooh, that was so insightful. That actually brings me, my next question was, and I don't know if you have any more insights to add to this. So many bloggers struggle with the whole selling themselves, whether it's to join a Patreon or really anything else. Do you have any additional tips for promoting the Patreon to, your audience without feeling overly salesy?
So it depends on what your niche is. Like, we're going to go off of the information niche just because that's what I'm more familiar with. There's tons of free content about points and miles on the internet. I put out tons of free content on YouTube and Instagram. So trying to pay gate information where you're like, nobody has ever seen this information before, not going to work well. Not what people are going to pay for. Most people, if you're trying to charge for secrets, the secrets are just going to get hacked and leaked. What people will pay for is access. They'll pay for speed. They'll pay for personalization. They'll pay for community or attending an event or something that looks like it actually took effort from a human. So you could do PDFs and downloadables like that. I know that the dream is just passive income all the time. There's a little bit of a ceiling for how much you can charge there. Even with courses, like there's $2,000 courses all over the place. It's not about the course. Usually they'll come with some kind of group coaching aspect or community or personalized audit. So if you are a blogger and you're like, well, I don't know what to charge and I don't know how to charge without being salesy, what is it that people are coming to you for anyway? Making sure that people get a lot of value out of your free content. Because if people aren't even reading the free content, why are they going to go for the paid content? So you need to make sure your free content is that good to start with and then pay for personalization from there. so many people are afraid of like, hey, what if I give out all of the secret sauce, all of the recipes, all of that? Then how would I ever make any more money? If you feel like that, one, it's going to be difficult to monetize at all. I give out tons of the information for free. And I'm just like, if you want to do it yourself, there's everything. There's information on how to do anything. But you're charging more for the accountability. And you kind of have to ask your audience, yeah, if you could do it yourself, like I put free info out there, how come it's not done yet? Oh, do you want to pay for somebody to do it for you? Do you want to pay for somebody to kind of guide you through it a little bit faster? If you do fitness offers or something, like, do you want to pay for accountability calls? Because there's tons of fitness videos online, and yet most people never actually implement those. So that was a long-winded answer to your question of what happens if you're afraid of selling. I would say, are you afraid of selling because you think nobody's going to buy it, because people are going to get mad at you for asking to monetize or whatever? And depending on your answer to that, it can go down a different road.
I'm curious about your workflow because, you know, if you're leading kind of these calls each month and helping people implement things, I imagine it could become a lot. So how do you kind of keep Patreon from becoming this second full-time job on top of your Instagram, email list, all the different things that you do?
Make sure to limit exactly what is offered versus what's not offered. So sometimes people DM me through Patreon and they're like, hey, I have a whole bunch of one-on-one questions. Can you answer it in the chat? I'll just say like, no, that's not really included in what's like in the screenshot of offers, but we'll help you on group coaching. Make it to this call. And they're like, that call doesn't work for me. Be like, cool, we can upsell you to one-on-one offers from there. But just being very clear about what is and is not included in your Patreon offers. Patreon's pretty passive for me at this point because we've hired staff who run the group coaching and who prepare the different award tutorials. So I just need to manage that. And a lot of my time is spent more with the upsell one-on-one clients and producing content and dealing with the marketing flows to make sure that we can still get people into Patreon each month and that fulfillment is running smoothly. But I don't think that, hopefully, not too many people have made Patreon like their entire livelihood. If you are a content creator and you're doing like exclusive content on Patreon versus YouTube versus Instagram, and it's working well, then if it's working well, you might just need to outsource some of the non-core competency pieces of it, like the posting on Patreon, the editing, the cover art, all of that. But if it's taking a lot of toll on you to put out that much content, do you need to put out that much content for people to find value in it? Because you don't necessarily need to post something every day. You might just need to post something that's a little bit more tailored to exactly what people are looking for.
Actually, in terms of the schedule, are you posting monthly or weekly?
We just really do once a month. And so there's a few posts each month. There's a save the date. Here's a reminder. Here's when the next group coaching is. Comment below with your award search request. We'll post once a month. Here's the monthly award search video. And then we'll conduct the group coaching link. And then we'll post, here's the recording of the group coaching for the month.
Got it. And now, you know, getting people into the Patreon is great, but getting them to stay is what really turns it into this reliable recurring revenue stream. How do you keep your churn rate low and encourage people to stay a member?
Delivering on what you said you were going to deliver on is key. Something we do as well. So we have annual tiers where if somebody says, I really can't wait until the end of the month when you do the monthly group coaching call, I need this right away, they have to do the annual tier. And then we'll deliver something within 3 days via email to them. But as far as churn, it's kind of the name of the game, but I would say making sure you deliver on what you said you were going to deliver helps a lot as well.
Does Patreon, does it have built-in features for doing, well, A, like videos, like mainly video content, and then B, does it have really good stats so you can kind of see how many people engaged with each piece of content you put out in Patreon?
The way that we do it, we post our videos as unlisted videos on YouTube, and then we will embed them into Patreon from there because I like YouTube's dashboard statistics more than the Patreon ones. A lot of people are afraid of like, what if my unlisted videos get leaked or something? I'm not too worried about it. Like, we don't have nearly enough people watching our unlisted videos. And if that does happen, like, hopefully it just funnels more people into the Patreon.
Got it. And then before we kind of wind down, I'd love to know any mistakes that you see people making when they are getting started with Patreon.
I think we have covered a few of them, but one is just building out their feelings and then hoping somebody pays them for it. Do your marketing research first. just deliver a ton of value to people. And then based off of what people keep asking you questions about or what people keep coming back for, monetize that. Because oftentimes it might be a little bit different versus what you think people are wanting to pay for. And then from there, you can use the money that you earn to paint your feelings all day. That's probably the number one, especially for beginners, is they don't do their market research. And number two is like, after a while, it could get a little bit boring and like people become inconsistent of like, oh, I was so motivated to like post on Patreon every day or every week for a while. And it's like a New Year's resolution. And then you go a couple months without posting. Well, people are still paying you a subscription in those months. And so of course they're going to churn if you can't keep up the pace. So much better to just say, I am posting once or twice per month and that's all you get. And it's $5 and like, this is a clear delivery versus trying to over deliver and then doing that for 1 month and then getting burned out. So just do what you can do consistently.
Yes. Well, thank you so much for sharing your tips. Before we sign off, can you just let everyone know where they can find you?
Of course. So you can find me mostly on Instagram at GeoBreezeTravel. We hang out on YouTube as well. And if you want to get into points and miles, I'd recommend starting with our free course at geobreezetravel.com/free course, where we have a whole free course about points and miles 101.
Amazing. And I will have all of that linked in the show notes as well as the video description on YouTube. All right, now I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you feel inspired and empowered to grow and monetize with Patreon. Don't forget to grab access to the free travel blogger resource library that I've linked in the video description or via the QR code on your screen. There are a ton of resources in there on growing your community and increasing your blogging profits, including a grow and monetize with Patreon cheat sheet based on today's video. And of course, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss future videos sharing these strategies for bloggers who want to turn their blogs into profitable full-time businesses. Happy blogging!